Well, I guess it's about time to address that very large elephant in the room, being the Russian BMPTs and how these vehicles, in my opinion, have effectively destroyed battle rating 10.7. And no, I'm not saying that just for clickbait points either. And to prove my point, I'd rather show you some. Here's a montage. I'm actually curious what my win rate is on this thing. Let's go look at it. Holy shit. Oh, British tank. Yes, can't kill me. I got him. Come on, lower plate. It's insane. 3 tanks shoot at me simultaneously. DJ now. Have a nuke. I got a nuke just by me surviving. I didn't even have to get that many kills. That is ridiculous. God, look at all the BMPTs. Look at all my beautiful children.
Voorwaarts.
Roger, voorwaarts.
You just got your teammate killed. I'm literally about to get another nuke.
Artillerieaanval. Coördinaten.
That was stupid. Truly skill game. Welcome to the whole W gang, ladies and gentlemen. Bro, I have an 80% win rate. That is fucking nuts, dude. This is stupid. Yeah, welcome to 10.7 right now, guys. Stop abusing this thing.
We no longer have the advantage.
But of course, before we dive into today's topic, I do want to let you guys know really quick that everything I'm going to be talking about is based off my own personal experiences and opinions. So please don't take this to face value. It's going to be very much a tangent type of video more than anything. But I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts and opinions on how we could possibly have this vehicle change for the better to make the environments just a little bit more comfortable. Now, for starters, I very much enjoy this vehicle. In fact, the BMPT is probably one of the most enjoyable experiences I've had with a Russian vehicle in quite some time, ever since the T90M came into the game. And the reason for that is very simple. I'm a Russian main, right? There's going to be a bit of bias for it. Hence the joke I like to use in a bunch of my videos, stream titles, the whole bias, this and that. It's just kind of a play, to be honest. But this vehicle is something I've been looking forward to for many years now. Ever since I started playing this game around 2015, I had the hope that maybe just one day we would see this thing, or at least a variant of it at the time, in one of my favorite games, being War Thunder. Now, initially, when this vehicle was first introduced on the dev server, I thought it was going to be lightly DOA. The reason for that is very simple. The vehicle did not have its armor modules modeled at all, and it had a ton of fuel tanks, making me believe that this vehicle was going to be easily destroyed by any sort of heat round, if it got through the ERA, that is, any sort of spike missile, etc. But boy, was I absolutely wrong. I actually thought about deleting that video, to be honest, because it was just so incorrect. But I'm going to leave it there, of course, because it's already said and done, and I kind of save face anyways. But to push this vehicle's point just a little bit further about how broken it can be, even more so in experienced hands, I have got only an 83% win rate with this vehicle, which, don't get me wrong, I'm very proud of. But I also have just shy of 500 kills and just shy of 100.
Achterwaarts.
Leaking reports, enemy spotted.
BMP, 12 uur, nacht, 7:00.
Doelwit geneutraliseerd.
Request second
AP geladen.
Allied forces have captured the zone.
Vliegtuig, 10 uur.
components in this thing, which kind of goes to show that, you know, maybe this thing might be a little broken. Now, do keep in mind, I don't consider myself a good player, nor the best. I've had many moments in my videos where I drop the ball entirely. I forget a scout. I make a potato shot. You guys know I'm not shy about sharing that. But an 83% win rate, what's the average right now for the BMP? Like, was it like 75 or 80% win rates? Which is kind of insane. But with all that being said, I'm going to walk you guys through how to properly destroy this thing, and I'm sorry to say, there really isn't too much of an option when it comes to the tech tree variant of the vehicle. More about the premium variant in a quick moment, but let's jump over to the hangar really quick. And you can see right here that I do have this thing kind of souped up a little bit. I kind of like the BM status of the rocket right here, where every time you get a kill, it throws out a little firework, and it kind of gives away your entire position on the map. I would not recommend you guys use this on standard MBTs. Kind of put these on your bully vehicles, much like with an MBT. Now, I just want to show you guys a couple of important things. Starters, ERA. Now, Russia has the best ERA in the game, bar none. Nothing even comes close to them, at least not yet. Anyways, I think the Oplot is one of the exceptions to that rule, but even then, it's still not even comparable to Relics. You get over 250 millimeters of kinetic protection on top of chemical, of course. You have not only that ERA plate, which is pretty impossible to go through, even with some of the best rounds in the game, fired from, say, the 292, which you won't be facing against anyways, or very rarely. Behind that, you have, of course, a spall liner, and then more spall liner. And not only do you have more spall liner, you have armored plates, roll homogeneous armor plates, which can and will absorb spalling. Yes, that's right. And not only that, you have more armor in the form of aluminum, which will absorb even more spalling, and below that, even more. And you have fuel tanks too, which, by the way, if you do shoot these, they will detonate outside of the vehicle, meaning that you don't have to use FPE. And when it comes to the munition found on the 30mm, which, by the way, I have found these guns to be insanely useless, even against trees. You use these to kind of avoid your teammates a little bit, if you know what I mean. More importantly, you have even more armor even behind the driver's port. Now, rule of thumb when it comes to Russian tanks is you shoot either the driver's ports, to be language, of course, it's very early in the morning, or you shoot at the lower front plate. But here's the problem. With all that armor already mentioned, it's very difficult to get into the carousel, which allows you to one-tap this vehicle. Now, is it possible? Absolutely. It does happen a lot, actually. But I'm going to show you a good clip right here that made me angry about this. This was me playing my Leopard 2K in a full up tier against the BMPT, and it's going to go exactly as you will imagine. And here's another for my IFV enjoyer, showcasing how there's very little you can do against this unless you're very lucky.
Allied forces have captured a zone.
And if you're curious as to why I didn't shoot the lower front plate, the 30mm cannot go through it at that angle, even at that distance.
Voorwaarts.
Here's a good example of the Challenger 2 going toe-to-toe with a multitude of BMPTs with both AP and Hatch. Very professional. Okay, so Hash is obviously not going to work. And before you start asking, I'm aiming for that ammo belt. So I got into a long fight with two BMPTs, couldn't win. Okay, did I get my pipe right now?
Doelwit beschadigd. Geladen.
Okay. So I'm going to bring out one of the most common types of vehicles you'll find at Battle Rating 10.7, the Leopard 2A4, firing its DM23 based off the L44 gun, which means you can average this around DM33 105, DM63 105, etc. Not the best, not the absolute worst, right? But it's a very common round. Now, obviously, if you're engaging this thing full bore frontally, you're going to want to engage, of course, the lower front plate, which unfortunately is not the most reliable shot. I mean, it can work, as you can see, but I don't really trust that too much. And, of course, the driver's port. But there's a catch to it, and you need to understand this because I've made this mistake plenty of times. It's easy to look at this flat area right here like you would in Tiger 1 or something and think, oh boy, I can kill it right there, right? Well, unfortunately, you are dead wrong because you run into the ERA and all the composite. You just got to aim a little bit lower, and it does help out pretty well for the most part. Granted, the vehicle might survive. You're really going to tear a new one. However, if you find this thing in a hold-down position, there's not a whole lot you can really do. Now, of course, you can engage the ammunition right here, but it's a very small target, and it's a very difficult shot to make, even more so if this thing is shooting at you, because if it sees you, it's going to be spamming the hell out of you for sure. Unfortunately, I haven't been too successful destroying this vehicle using that method, but the same cannot be said for the premium variant of the BMPT, which only has 3 crew members, which means if you hit it in the driver's port, it's going to be very easy to knock out because, you know, kind of has the same issue right here. Don't be fooled by this. Driver's port will knock it out, but there have been some instances where if you shoot the ammo belt right here, it does destroy the vehicle. And from what I'm seeing right here, it doesn't look like it's nearly well armored as it is on the regular BMPT, which is why I have a worse KD in this thing compared to the Tech Tree version. And I know what you're thinking. Go for the rockets, right? Unfortunately, externally mounted munitions are not going to kill this thing. As you see in many of my clips of my videos, streams, etc., shooting here is not going to kill this thing, I'm sorry to say. And then, of course, you have the one option, if you decide you want to go ahead and do this. Let me go ahead and bring this out because it should be a lot of fun. What rank does it sit at? There you are. Yeah, if you bring this bad boy out, I think it's with a Hesh round. Okay, maybe not right there with this one. Give me 1 second. Is that? Yeah, it's right here. I've never done this. Have you done this?
Treffer. Doelwit geneutraliseerd. AP geladen.
Yeah, that would probably blow up the tank. To be honest, I wouldn't be too scared using this, but come on, really? I'll bring this out to 10.7, 11.7. Well, I guess that should give you an idea of what to expect with the BMPT. Now, don't get me wrong, skill issue was involved in those few moments, though I'm curious to know what you would have done in such an instance. Go ahead and let me know down in the comments. But all of this leads into this next part, which is how to properly balance out the BMPT. Now, I've taken this bad boy out to top tier. I'll go ahead and play this clip in the background while we kind of talk through this a little bit. This vehicle can even still frontally face even some of the most modern tanks, the Leopard 2A7 and A272s, mixed battles, T90Ms, T80 PVMs. And you would be very well surprised how often players like to shoot at the driver's ports of most of these vehicles, only to be met by even more composites sitting right behind it, as we showed earlier. So that begs the question, how do you properly balance this thing, even if you move it up and beyond?